Hello, Commissioner Gilkey. We are back and we are going to talk about being efficient and getting through college quickly and economically. I guess first, the question is, how do we do that? How do folks do that?
Well, thanks for having me again today, Ashley. And, this is something we talk a lot about in high to figure out how to accelerate students through. There are, for students that are in high school in that K-12 environment, there are a lot of options. Quite frankly, there are things like the AP advanced placement courses that you can take that earn college credit. There's also dual and concurrent enrollment that students can take advantage of that do two things that allow a student to experience what a college course content and curriculum looks like and how to be successful, but also in many cases, it's cost free, so it lowers the cost for the student when they arrive on campus, allows them to get closer. So if students want to take advantage of those, I'd encourage them to talk to their counselors about how what the options are, because they do vary school by school, and how they could take on those dual credit or earn that college credit while they're in high school.
And we're talking, getting some gen eds done, which I know can get students towards their major sooner.
Absolutely. So some of the variety of content could be, so like when I was in high school, I took advanced placement courses in history, and I actually took a forestry course that was not a general education, so it was more topical. There are a variety of advanced placement courses and dual and concurrent enrollments. When I was a high school teacher, I taught a dual course or dual current course on computer science and programming. But if students want to get those general education courses like mathematics or English, then that I would encourage them to do so. We know from some of those, particularly English and mathematics, sometimes those can be courses that students need a little extra help in. And so doing them while they're in high school allows you to get a first shot at trying to be successful in that. So when you arrive on campus, you can go right into your electives or your major that's more closely tied to what your career is going to be in.
Right. So I know people listening to this will be good news and maybe motivating, because I remember being back in college and thinking, hearing about students graduating a semester early, even a year early. And I thought, these are some wonderkins. I can't do that. But it seems like it absolutely can be possible. And it doesn't mean you're going to over.
Absolutely. And, there are other programs like we have a PTech program in Rhode Island, and we just graduated students from the Community College of Rhode Island with their associate's degree and their high school diploma at the same time. And we're looking to expand that program. It's called PTech, and it's based on industries like cybersecurity or manufacturing. And so there are, other new creative ways to let students go even farther than just a course or two, but also maybe even jointly earn their degree. So I think this is a really innovative space that's happening across education, K-12 and higher education, where we're taking advantage. But I also don't want to forget our listeners out there that might be adults and might be in the work environment or maybe dislocated, to accelerate that post-secondary experience. For those that are employed right now, their employers oftentimes have incentive programs. There's also certain industries like healthcare and education that are looking for talent in certain occupations that may offer the ability to pay for their tuition once you complete the program and you go to work. So there are resources for adults that allow you to accelerate or to earn while you're employed or maybe dislocated, so that you can get into that career that you choose.
So I know when we're talking about this, we're also talking about, of course, saving money. Of course, it depends on the tuition of the school, but if we could kind of break down, if you're saving a semester, that means you're saving on a couple of other fees that normally come with college campuses, correct?
Well, it depends course by course or program by program. There may be associated costs like books or that you would have to take if you take advantage of the program. But traditionally, in the dual concurrent enrollment or the advanced placement, you do have the cost savings of tuition, which by and large is the lion's share of a higher education cost. And so if you can get that knocked out, and you may have a course fee, I think maybe some courses may have a testing the fee that you would have to pay. So I want to make sure families understand that there might be some costs, but if we think about the whole affordability picture of higher ed, getting that tuition knocked out, that's going to really lower your investment in your education.
And of course, that means possibly fewer loans.
Absolutely. We want to ensure that students can not just complete their degree quicker, that gets them into that career, but debt-free is the way to go when you're either a student thinking from high school trying to get through that next step of your education, or you're an adult trying to come back. In Rhode Island, we are very blessed with a couple big incentive programs to help, like the Rhode Island Promise. We also have some adult scholarships for dislocated workers called COVID relief scholarships that lowers the cost, but certainly accelerating or doing things while you can, whether through your employer or while you're in high school, is going to lower that debt.
So I wanted to go back and talk about PTech. That's very interesting because those are two fields that I would assume are growing, especially, I feel like all I hear is cybersecurity now in the news now because of everything that's happening. And of course, manufacturing, a big hub here.
Absolutely. So the emerging industries in Rhode Island right now are information technology, professional and social services, and healthcare, and cybersecurity being one of those subfields in information technology. And so there has been an investment from our state through legislation to create the PTech program, which allows that acceleration of Rhode Islanders in that high demand field like cybersecurity. But yeah, we graduate. The state graduated 13 students from their PTech program at CCRI on campus that would traditionally be a high school senior just getting that high school diploma, but they were getting their associate's degree at the same time in a field where a job's going to be. So that's just a great innovative way. I hope we can grow that over time.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is your message to parents or guardians who maybe, their kid isn't thinking about it. They're thinking of summer right now. But what is something that, of course, I love to ask is what is something that they can do right now? Hop on their laptop, hop on their phone, what website should they go to?
So a great resource for those students and families and guardians that are out there that want to utilize the summer are to look at the RI Enroll platform. That's one resource you can do online. You can also go to the College Planner Center, which is by the Rhode Island Student Loan Authority. You can also call your local school counselor. A lot of guidance counselors work in the summer to get ready for that next career, and pick up the phone and call your local guidance counselor and ask them some advice on what's specific to that school district. But our institutions are also standing by: the Community College of Rhode Island College, the University of Rhode Island, and our private institutions. They all have departments that will help students and families direct them into the right center. So go to those admission departments and see how you can get connected.
All right, that sounds great. And just one final wrap up, I'd just like to ask about, what's the latest on the higher ed front? I know that when it comes to vaccinations, there's some up in the air. Depends what happens with the meeting and whatnot. So what is the latest on your end?
Yeah, so at our last council meeting, we were proposed a bill or a policy that would provide a requirement for students to become vaccinated at the Community College of Rhode Island and Rhode Island College. This is another step that our council is considering right now to ensure that our campuses are safe and that we can keep them open. As everyone knows, we had to go to full remote learning at all of our institutions, public and private, last year. Many of the private institutions, including the University of Rhode Island, have already created policies that require students to be vaccinated. And so our council on post-secondary education is considering a similar policy that would keep our campuses safe, keep students on location in person, so that we can move forward and get back to normal.
And do you have any timeline for that decision?
So the decision will be made at our next council meeting, which is June 23rd, and that is a public meeting. And so we'll be hearing the policy then.
All right, wonderful. I think that is all we need to chat about this week. We will have another one coming up at the end of the month. Thank you, Commissioner Gilkey.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Have a great week.